In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the thermostat and housing assembly on this GMC Yukon with the 5.3 liter engine. It's located on your engine next to the throttle body, so let's get started. Everything we need to access is underneath here, so we'll have to remove a couple lines and a couple hose clamps to get this intake piece out of the way. The two lines are on the back of this, and you have to press on the gray tab. That'll unlock it, pull it away and set it aside. There's one on the other side as well. Same thing, push on the gray tab, pry this away, twist it and set it aside. There's a hose clamp on the air filter housing right here. Use an 8mm socket to loosen this up. You don't need to remove it, you just need to loosen it up a little bit. There's another one on the throttle body side, loosen that one up as well. Grab onto this and twist it, break it free from the throttle body, remove it, twist it off the air filter housing. Sometimes it gets stuck on here. If it was on here for a long time, I might need to loosen the clamp a little more. There we go. Remove this and set it aside. Behind the front bumper on the passenger side frame rail and also behind the fender liner, you'll find this cover. This is held on with a push clip and a 13mm bolt. Let's remove the push clip first using a trim tool. Pop the center out and then the rest of it. Then use a 13mm socket and remove the bolt. Now you can pull this shield off. Up above the lower radiator support, you'll see the drain for the radiator. I'm going to use a piece of hose that fits right through this hole, and that is so I can put it on the drain. This will help me make less of a mess when draining, otherwise it's going to go all over the frame, and I want to avoid that if possible. All right, I pushed my hose up. So that's on there now. I have it routed into a collection bucket so I can properly recycle this coolant. And now, usually it's going to be a little tough to open this just by hand, so you might need some pliers to break that free. There we go. Continue unthreading this once you break it free. Don't remove this plug all the way, just enough until coolant starts draining. If you remove it all the way, it'll start shooting out where the plug is. Perfect. Let's leave it like this and then go up and remove the cap for the overflow so we can relieve pressure. In the engine compartment, the coolant tank has a cap that you want to unthread at this point. Removing this cap will allow air to enter the system as the coolant drains, and it'll drain a lot faster. Take this off and just set it up on top here or just set it aside. It's pretty much done draining, so I'm going to reach up here and close this off. That's it. That's closed off right there. Give it a little push to make sure it's snug, and of course, remove the hose if you used one. Clean off anything that might have spilled up on the frame. Let's continue. Let's reinstall this shield. I'm going to start the mounting bolt in. This might be a little tricky because you have to hold the shield in place while you start this. And once that's in, I'm actually going to put the push clip in so that I can hold the shield in place. Pop that in all the way, and now tighten up the bolt. There we go, just make it snug, it's small, it doesn't need to be extremely tight, and the shield is plastic, and you want to make sure it doesn't break it if you over tighten it. Now on the thermostat housing right here, we have two hoses, a smaller one that we're going to take off first, so pinch the hose clamp, pull it out of the way. And then you can take these pliers, break the hose free by twisting it, and pull it off. Set that aside. And then there's a larger hose. This is the upper radiator hose with a bigger hose clamp. So get some bigger pliers, squeeze this. This is a clamp that locks in place. Sometimes it locks, sometimes it doesn't. But if it wants to lock open, that's fine. Pull it off, twist the hose. Sometimes these get stuck on here. Try to be gentle so you don't break the hose. There we go. Now you can pull this off as well. Coolant might come out still, even though you drained it. There's always some left in here. 3 10mm bolts. Hold this thermostat assembly on. Remove them all. With these off, you can pull the thermostat right off. There it is. This is the gasket that should be on the thermostat, but it's stuck to the housing. You want to make sure you pull that off. There's that. I can feel a little bit of a raised area here where the gasket was. I'm going to use a gasket scraper and just clean this area off. If you have a new razor blade that you can use that. You don't need to remove material, so I wouldn't really recommend using sandpaper or anything. You just want something that's flat and gentle enough to not create deep grooves right here, but enough to remove the excess material that'll prevent the new O-ring from sealing. That looks good. I'm going to wipe it off with a rag. I don't feel a raised area anymore, so that's perfect. Let's put the thermostat on. Install the new thermostat. It can only go on one way. So you want to make sure that lines up, and then start the bolts in by hand. Make sure your bolts are in good condition. If you had a leaky gasket, a lot of times these bolts end up corroding. So if you need to replace them, do so with the correct grade bolts so that they can clamp on properly. You don't want these to break or strip out. I'm going to bottom them out, and then we're going to torque them, of course. 89 inch-pounds is the torque for all three of these. Double check them all. Let's get the two hoses back on, starting with the upper radiator hose. Make sure this is bottomed out all the way, and then of course put the clamp back over. I like to put these clamps right back where they came from. The hose kind of gets molded to the clamp, so this gives it the best chance it has of sealing back up. And then of course the little one went right up here. Stick that back on, and the clamp. Same goes for this. And there we go. Let's get this back on. Slide it over the air filter housing first. Make sure it slides over, and then carefully slide it over the throttle body. Make sure that the rubber doesn't fold over. That's seated. There we go. Let's tighten up the clamps. Use that 8mm socket, tighten up these clamps. You don't need to tighten these a lot if you're doing this by hand. Don't go until they stop spinning, because that's going to actually strip them out. It'll be way too tight. If you can't move this independently, then that's plenty tight. Do the same to the other one. Don't forget to plug these two lines back in. Make sure they actually lock in. It's important. Always, there we go. Always pull on them. You saw it almost wasn't locked in. And don't forget to do the other side as well. Perfect. It's time to fill the cooling system. This right here is the full line on the expansion tank, so you want to fill this all the way here. Naturally, air will bubble out as coolant goes into the system. Once it stops bubbling, make sure it's full and then turn the engine on so the water pump can pump the coolant through and bleed the system. Once the vehicle has reached operating temperature, you can shut it off, double check that this is full, and then cap it off. The system's bled, the coolant tank is full, so I can cap this off. If you need to add any, go ahead before you cap it off, or if you need to remove any because you can't have it too full, make sure that this is bottomed out and snug, and at this point you can go ahead and take it for a road test and make sure everything's good.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.